Very, very last question is, I know cannabis, I'm not 100% sure, but I do know it upregulates you, right? So that's the nervous system being upregulated, and it's draining. Anytime you do anything, whether it's lifting heavy weights, studying, using your brain, and I believe cannabis as well, upregulating the nervous system is going to deplete a lot of nutrients. It's going to make you a bit more tired. You mentioned earlier that the endocannabinoid system can also be exhausted and overused. Nutrition-wise, lifestyle and habits-wise, for us post-trip or post-connection, what are some good tips for us to re-nutrient ourselves with sleep, any supplements, or, want to hit on that real quick?
This is perfect. Yeah. So I'm going to blow your mind probably because I just got my mind blown about this. So Dr. Jason Ganzuk, you know him, right? Through Paul. Have you met Dr. Jason before?
Not yet, no.
Dude, guy's awesome. You should definitely get him on the pod. I work very closely with him. He's actually my doctor.
Wow.
So he got really into mineralizing the body. And this is something that a couple of people are talking about. There's another guy that I've had on, Hamid Jabir. He's the mineral shaman. So, when we look at like the topsoils, going back to how we started, right? When we look at what's going on in the world, why is our food supply so fucked, right? Even the organic food, why is it so minerally deficient? Well, the topsoils have been depleted. Therefore, the microbes are not there. Therefore, the soluble nutrients are insoluble, or they're not there at all. So the plants that are being grown are minerally deficient. Then the animals that eat those plants are also minerally deficient. So whether we're vegetarian or carnivore, right, we're eating either plants or animals, and we are then minerally deficient. So that's why a lot of, health gurus start saying like recently, like you got to supplement these days, you just got to do something. So think about the average person consuming cannabis, right? And again, no judgment here, but think about fast food, shitty water or no water, alcohol, stress, all these things. So they are in a minerally deficient state. Then they're going to cannabis, psilocybin, etc., which all take minerals from you. It's not anything crazy. It's not like, oh my God, this is terrifying. Like exercise will do it too. It's not a bad thing, right? It's just something to be aware of, because if you're in a chronically deficient state, well, there's a lot of things that can happen, especially if you're drinking fluorinated water. You can become overly calcified. Now, when you're overly calcified, you literally are building a calcium shell in your body. And what happens is you will not be emotionally available. Like there are actual practical things that come out of these mineral imbalances that people will recognize. You could have ED, you could have all these different things, inflammation, all these things, right? So cannabis, like most plant medicines, goes after calcium, which for a lot of people is why they feel good when they interact with cannabis, because they're already overly calcified. Cannabis takes them away. They all of a sudden feel like more connected. They feel happier. They feel these things, right? Little do they know that if they just stop drinking fluorinated water and doing some of these other things, they could take that calcium away, right? Calcium's not bad. It's just you don't want it in excess. The other thing it goes after is copper. Now, when you look at iron and copper, iron's masculine, copper's feminine. This does not mean, for anyone listening, to go out and start supplementing with copper, right? It's not that simple. And depending on what you're eating, right, and what quality of food you're getting, you could be making that up fine, right? Like it could be fine, depending on how much cannabis you're connecting with as well. So when you work with Dr. Jason or someone like this, they'll get you to do a HTMA test, a hair test mineral analysis. And so when I got mine back, my copper was actually perfect, right? So that's a perfect example of how, like, just because it takes copper doesn't mean that my copper was low, right? It just means that it's something to be aware of. But I did have certain inconsistencies, right? And so molds can do this, like heavy metals, is all different types of things, right? So when we think about doing plant medicines and connecting with them, these kind of things, it's impossible for me to give exact things, but I'll give some really good things to be aware of. Electrolytes are awesome, just overall. Magnesium is fantastic. Most of us, like, not in the bubbles we're in and Paul Chek's crowd and stuff, but most of the world is very magnesium deficient. Other things include omega-3s. Omega-3s are great for optimizing the endocannabinoid system's function. Dark chocolate, blueberries, things with what's called anthocyanins in them. Those are really good. Also things that have like anandamide, like dark chocolate, that would be really good as well. There's a whole list of things online that you can find that will optimize your endocannabinoid system. But what I would recommend, if someone listening to this is like me and Miguel, and you like to be highly optimized and you want to go the extra mile, get an HTMA test for like $150 and find someone, could be Dr. Jason, could be Hamid, someone else, who can read it for you and actually start remineralizing your body. Because when that happens, I am telling you, cannabis, all these things, they will work extremely well. I actually think that might have happened at this festival, is that I've been on this protocol for 3 months with all these different herbs and whatnot. And I hadn't connected with any medicines because I rarely connect with other medicines these days. I feel great all the time. So I haven't really needed to. And so I decided to dive down the rabbit hole. At Muse Festival, took a very small dose of something because I was aware, set and setting, all the things. And it felt like the strongest experience I had ever had, right? Wow. No, I'm actually meeting with Dr. Jason to be like, hey, what happened there? Because I'm curious, because now I can speak about it and be like, hey, for instance, if you're eating bacopa, do not connect with medicines, right? I don't know if that was the herb that was responsible, but that would be an example. And so I would say for like ground level, electrolytes, magnesium, omega-3s, things with anandamide like dark chocolate, really good, because anandamide is an endocannabinoid. So there's two different types of cannabinoids. There's endocannabinoids and there's phytocannabinoids. So endocannabinoids, endo stands for endogenous, right? They're made within our body. The two most popular are anandamide. Ananda comes from the Sanskrit word bliss. It's responsible for the runner's high, et cetera, exercise high. The other one is 2-AG, way too long to pronounce the whole thing. So when you want to optimize your endocannabinoid system, you want to be ingesting things and taking things in that are going to optimize anandamide and 2-AG production, right? Along with other things as well, things that are going to take away inflammation, things like that. So those are always great things to be connecting with just overall, but especially after a ceremony when you wanted to recuperate, you know? And again, like, it doesn't mean that if you connect with a little bit of cannabis at night every night that you're going to be horribly minerally deficient. There are obviously other challenges that we've spoken about in here that could present themselves, numbing out, running away from your problems, things like that. But it's good for everyone. I'd recommend everyone get an HTMA test. Out of all the money I've spent on myself, which is a ridiculous amount, this was one of the things that I've clearly felt the effects of more than almost anything else I've done. So yeah, really good stuff.
Okay. Very, very, very awesome, man. You are a well of fucking wisdom, man.
Thanks, man. You make it easy, man, with good questions.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much, man. For your program, Connecting with Cannabis, what is that, and who's it for? Who's that product for? Because I know you've really distilled everything in your Connect with Cannabis course. For anybody that wants to deep dive into this, I think that's where to go.
Definitely, man. And you know what's cool, Miguel, is now we've actually put everything together into what we now call the Conscious Cannabis Collective. Because I had the Connect with Cannabis course, which is all about creating a healthy relationship with the plant and opening the psychedelic powers of the plant. I then had Grow with Cannabis to learn exactly how I cultivate in the way I spoke about in here. And then we had our training program, the Coach with Cannabis program, to get certified as a conscious cannabis facilitator, integration coach, and educator. And so there's too many cooks in the kitchen. So what I really love more than anything, and what I really feel the backbone of everything I do is bringing people together, right? Like, you know, when you're into stuff like this or any of these rabbit holes, it'd be hard to find other people that get it, that can inspire curiosity within you. And so now we have a year-long mastermind. It actually goes longer than that, but you sign up for a year at a time, called the Conscious Cannabis Collective, where you get all three of the programs. You get 7 calls per week. You can hop on with me. You can meet all the people in my network, all the people I benefited from through the guest presenters. You get an insane amount of value. You get a Breathe with Cannabis workshop every single month. It's hosted by me, so you can see exactly how I do it with my man, Chris. You get the Slack community. I mean, it is unbelievable. And so for anyone who's interested in that, just go right to my profile at The Real Ryan Sprague. I'm sure you'll put it in the show notes too, but you can go right there, send me a DM, say hi. I love chatting. If you got any questions, you can hit me up. And if you want to sign up for a call, qualifying call, because I field all the calls to make sure I'm hand selecting everyone that goes in here, you can just book right in the link that's in my bio, and you can hop in there, book a call, come on with yours truly, and we'll co-create some magic.
Thank you guys for watching this little podcast clip. I am on this journey of growing and finding people that could best influence us with the best information, the stuff that the mainstream can't cover and won't cover, and that even experts that me and you both know will not touch because they don't want to get canceled and whatnot. So I'm trying to find this uncensored information to share with you guys. If you guys like it, please leave a like. If you're also a person trying to improve their life with real information, not things that are on the mainstream, please subscribe. And thank you for watching. And thank you for joining me on this journey. Peace out.